friends. Welcome to day 21 in my December daily 2025. Only 5 stories to go. Almost done. Yay! I will be sad to not be working on this anymore, but I will be happy to have my desk back. So, day 21 is going to be relatively simple. I kind of had to pivot a little bit. I was thinking I was going to do this on the back side and cut out these snow globes, and then it dawned on me I've got transparency in the center there, so I can't do that. So this was originally going to be day 22, and this was going to be 21, so I'm just switching them. So I don't think anybody's going to go back and say, hey, you went to the movies on the 22nd, not on the 21st. Whatever. It's close enough, right? So 21, like I said, is going to be real simple, just about movies. And I pulled out this number. Might have seen in my last video, I pulled out the number 20, this same style. This is from my stash from years back. And this vellum piece was one of the December kits. I think maybe not last year, but the year before. So I'm thinking I'll use this. I pulled this one out too. This one's cute. But I'm thinking I'm going to use that. I printed out my journaling on the card. Printed it out first on some cardstock and then ran it through with my card. Although my printer did not like this card. This must be kind of thick because I was having trouble with that. So I'm just going to kind of put this page together. It's going to come together relatively quickly, I think. And then I'm going to move right into doing day 22 with the snow globes, which will have a little bit more involved with it. So all right, let's get going. All right, so this page is going to come together relatively quickly and easily. Sometimes it's nice to have a pocket page in between, the more complicated pages or the more, time-intensive pages. So I've just got my 4 3x4, photos and journaling. Journaling was already printed. I'm going to end up stitching on that 21 just to add a little bit of texture to that card. I considered making that one a flip up with the joyful vellum, but I ended up just, keeping this relatively simple, like I said. Once I attach the 21, I'm going to run that through my sewing machine that has gold thread on there. And then I will pull out some of my word phrase stickers. I wanted to add something to the top of my photo. I'm not heavily embellishing this page, but I do want to add a little bit of something to all 4 of those photos and, journaling cards and things. So I'm going through my word phrase stickers, and I end up pulling out one of the pages that was from, I believe, the Advent calendar last year. Has these little pennant flags on it, and I believe it says December stories on it. So I'm going to add that to the top of my photo. I'm also going to stitch that on. Side note, I put my sewing machine on an IKEA cart, one of those carts that I flipped the top upside down so that I could put my sewing machine on it, so it's right next to me, and that way it's so much easier to just be able to add some stitching when I want to. So I pulled out this sheet of star stickers that is from ages ago that I have used a few times this year. So just adding that on there. And I was thinking I was going to add one of those stars to the 21, but I end up actually adding a word phrase sticker to the bottom of the 21 and then putting a star on top. I really wish I had some tiny sparkly gold stars. I was really kind of wishing I had some of those. I thought I had some in my stash, but apparently I don't. So something to look for myself for next year. So, and then the last thing I'm going to do is just staple that 20 on the transparency on the previous side. Added a few stickers from my stash. I ended up stitching on here on the number just to add a little bit of something, and I also stitched up here. And then I also stapled this 20 on here and kind of moved this transparency up a little bit so it would be closer to the top part, so it would look closer together, more like one piece. So with that finished, I'm going to move into day 20. And for this one, I'm going to use the snow globes. And then I've already have my photos all printed. I had these done a while ago. And then what I'm also going to do, I had stamped a bunch of these lined library cards. This is a Lail by Mail stamp. And then I also pulled out this stamp set from, you know, I always call it Elle's Studio, but I think it's Ellie's Studio. So I pulled out that because I want to use that currently stamp. So the idea is I'm just going to punch these out like this with 2.5 inch circle punch. I'll put the journaling right there. I'll put the photo on top, and then thinking, because these are snow globes, right? I'm gonna punch out these circles to go on top, and then somewhere I also want to put initials or something and ages of everyone. So that's kind of the plan. I said I've already stamped these, so I just need to punch these out. I need to punch this out, and then punch my photos out and kind of see what it looks like and go from there. So not super complicated, but a little bit more more moving parts in this one. So let's get going on page or day. What are we on? 22. That was 21, so we're on 22. Wow. Okay, let's get going. All right, so starting off with those library cards that I stamped. Like I said, those are Lail by Mail stamps. There's also actually a matching die that goes with that too, which I have, and I've used on other projects. But anyway, using a 2.5 inch punch, that's what I'm using for everything on this page. And then I pulled out this polka dot vellum that I'm going to put on top. And I'm also going to punch out my photos here in a second. And then the idea is that the journaling is going to be on the bottom, and then the photo, and then the vellum. And I'm going to attach a brad to have it flip up so that you can flip up the, snow and see the photo and then the journaling. And the journaling is very basic. It's just basically like for all three of my kids, it's, going to school, and or at least for two of them working as well, not their life story or anything, just kind of a little snippet into what's going on, but I really wanted to use this snow globe paper. I love it so much. I was so bummed that I did not get the transparency snow globes. I thought I had added them to my box when I ordered my December daily stuff, and I didn't. And by the time I realized it, they're gone. So it is what it is. It's fine. I don't know if I would have used them. They're so cute, but I want everything, right? So I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I want to put in that one snow globe. Originally I had thought, I could put my dogs in there because we're a family of 5, and then, we have the dogs. But I've got them on other pages. I didn't feel like I really needed to have them on this page, even though they are members of my family. So I'm going to set that aside for now. I will end up punching out some pattern paper to go behind that one, but I'm going to stamp that currently stamp on all of my journaling circles. And then I'm just going to write up a little bit of journaling, which is kind of difficult because when I was outside working in the yard the other day, we've had beautiful weather here in North Alabama lately. So, and I jammed my finger. Of course, I'm right-handed and it happened on the right, so on my right hand. But trying to journal as best I can. And like I said, just putting, just a couple little sentences about what is going on in everyone's life right now. Okay, so now I'm going to attach my journaling to that snow globe paper. I like to have the brad go all the way through the paper. Like if I have a flip up or anything like that, if I can, I like to have the brad go all the way through rather than just sandwiching those three together and putting the brad on and then attaching it. It's just a personal preference. I feel like it just gives it a little more stability. Whether or not it matters, I don't know. But like I said, just kind of my thing. So I'm just I attach the journaling, and then I'm going to grab out my paper piercer and pierce a hole through all, 4 layers? Yeah, we've got journaling, the pattern paper, the photo, and the vellum. So I'm going to poke a hole through all those layers, and then I'm going to add a brad so that each one of my snow globes is a cute little flip up. So I was really struggling with what I was going to put on the front of these snow globes. I really wanted to have an initial. I didn't really have any letter stickers that I felt were big enough. I really like those little gold puffy ones from Ally. But then I pulled out these thickers that I've had in my stash forever and added a bit of adhesive to the back because, they're old and I know they're going to fall off eventually. But you may have noticed from the preview photo that I will end up changing that up. I thought I had it and then I ended up changing my mind. But before I do that, I'm going to pull out these number stickers from, I believe, last year. I love these. I love that there are so many in this pack and I've used them quite a bit. I've used a lot of those twos, probably because I've used them for, marking the year, which you're going to use 2 of them every time you do that. But anyway, and then I'm using more because I'm putting everyone's age on there. So just kind of putting everyone's age on the bottom of the journaling. I made sure when I was writing the journaling that I left a little bit of room at the bottom. So knowing that I was going to put these stickers on here. And just a little note, I forgot to mention as far as the photos of everybody, for once I actually had the foresight to take photos of everyone. I actually took those at Thanksgiving. Already had the tree up, already had my decorations up, and everyone was over. And I just said, okay, everybody, I want to get a picture of you guys in front of the tree real quick. And I'm so glad I did. So, anyway, so for that last snow globe, I'm going to just punch a piece of pattern paper that I had in my stash. And now I'm just trying to figure out what to put on the top. And again, I will change my mind. I do like that joyful on there, but I believe I end up changing that as well. So I'm making this a flip up, even though I really don't have to. I don't think I put anything on the inside of that snow globe, but wanted them all to look the same here. So I'm going to add that brad on there, and then I'm going to add that joyful with some foam adhesive. And like I said, I will end up changing that up as well. Grab some gold puffy numbers to add the 22. Those will get moved as well, which you will see here in a minute. And then I just kept looking at this page and thinking, something is missing. So I'm going through my stash, trying to figure out if I can put something behind those letters. And then I pulled out these plastic stars that I've used many times this year. I love them. I love that there's so many of them. So I was thinking, oh, I could put that behind my thickers, but those were too big. So then I went back and pulled out those gold puffy alphas that I had. And that was just exactly what I was looking for. So I end up taking all of those thickers off and replacing them with a plastic star and then one of those gold puffy alphas. And I also do add a little bit of adhesive, I believe, to the back of those alphas just to make sure they stay on there. I didn't want to staple because underneath is the photo, and I didn't want, as you're flipping up the flip up, I didn't want the back of the staple to scratch up the photo. So, and then I will use a little bit of, I believe I use red line tape to attach that to the tops of my snow globe. And then I will also end up taking that joyful off and adding another star there and putting the numbers. Actually, I think the number is what I add additional adhesive to, because I've already moved it around a little bit. So I add a little bit of adhesive to the back of the 22 just to make sure it stays on there. And I was really happy with how this turned out. It kind of, was a roundabout way to get this page done, but I'm really happy with it. that was kind of a roundabout way to get this page done, right? But I am super happy with how this turned out. You know, it's funny when you're kind of trying to figure out what you want to do on a page and you think, oh, maybe I just need a little star embellishment right here. And then it ends up changing everything on your page. But I love the stars on these snow globes. You know, these stickers that I had pulled out, you know, those were fine. But it just felt like it was missing something. So once I did the stars and switched out the alphas, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I just love it. And you can flip it up to see the photo, and you can flip up to see the journaling. And I've got everyone's ages in there, although it kind of always stresses me out to put my own age on something. Oh my gosh. Oh, goodness. But, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, I'm super happy with this. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And I will be back with day 23, which will be my Mary page flip up that Allie did in, I think it was Product Play, or yes, Product Play, I believe she did it in that one. So I'm going to be doing day 23 like that one. So I will see you in the next video.